September 2013, $383.7 million. If you do the calculation, you will see that that's a percentage increase of almost 6%, 5.5%. Current revenue, out of the total revenue and grants, the current revenue for the end of September 2014 is $375.2 million, as against $341 million for the period ending September 2013. You'll see that as a number in the region of 10%. The total expenditure for at the end of September 2014 is $444.2 million compared to $421 million for the comparable period in 2013. That's an increase about 5.5%. Recurrent expenditure of that total expenditure now, the recurrent expenditure, that's for the ongoing, keep the plant operating, everything going on, paying salaries and so on, paying for the telephones and so on and so forth, keeping the business of the government turning over. $379.2 million the end of September 2014, and the comparable period for 2013 is $358.5 million, and that would be in the increase there would be about 5.8% current expenditure. The capital expenditure by the end of September 2014 is $65 million, just over $65 million. Comparable period last year, $62.5 million. It's about 4% increase. The current balance, we are in deficit as we were last year, but our deficit this year at the end of September is much less. It's just over $4 million deficit compared to $17.4 million in 2013. The overall balance is roughly the same. Last year was $37.3 million. This year is $38 million. Both of those numbers minus. If we look at some of the details, which I just want to highlight to you, we see an increase in most categories of taxes. Taxes on international trade. Taxes on incomes and profits. That would include individual income tax, companies taxes, and withholding taxes. Well, there were no increases in any of these. So what is reflecting here is an uptick in the economy and, of course, better collections. Last year, at the end of this period, we collected for taxes on incomes and profits $77.6 million to the end of September. End of September this year is $83.3 million, about $7 million more. Then the big number out of those, we have had increases for individuals, but the big number there, and also for companies, but the big increase took place in withholding taxes, where we have had about a 24% increase in withholding taxes. All right. taxes on properties. You know, the change which we made in the property taxes, we see an uptick. But it is not that people are paying more individually, is that the net has been spread wider because there are a lot of people who are not on the tax roll. So we, at the end of September last year, we collected $2.34 million. This year we collect $2.8 million, which means almost $500,000 more. Which, as I say, it's not, because you may remember that when I brought the law, the change in the law to move it from taxing using the property tax with the base value, not the rental value but the market value of the property, and we put it at 0.08% of the market value of the property, and you heard this big noise being made. Remember, for persons who had properties under $25,000, we charge no money at all. And there's certain properties also we made sure, so for certain property owners, we put a cap of 25% on the increase. But there are a lot of fellas who just didn't do the math. I mean, if you have a property worth $1 million, 0.08% of $1 million for the 0.08% is $800, not as what they told people, $8,000. You know, it was 0.08, and it doesn't 0.8. You know, and if you have a property worth $200,000, is $160 in property tax. If you have a property worth $200,000, and you pay $160 in property tax, Heavenly Father, you divide it behind the 160 by 12. You know, it's not even $25 a month. But what we did a wider net, because what was done from 2000, what was done was, the last one was 1991 or something like that, the valuation. And a lot of the valuations which are put by, in fact almost all the valuations put by the valuer at Inland Revenue, those valuations were less than what would really be the market value. So, you hear anybody complaining about the property tax? But when it came, it was like the heavens were going to fall down. People tend to forget these things, you know, and they waste a lot of energy on these things and rile up people, and then the thing just fall down, as Trinidadians say, like bhaji. You know, you put a lot of bhaji inside of the pot, and by the time it boils, it look plenty full up the pot, and you think you have plenty bhaji, and as soon as it get hot, when you look inside, there's a little drop of bhaji you have to eat. It just boil down like bhaji. Then taxes on domestic transactions went up by 2.6%, but interestingly, domestic VAT went up by 7.5%, from 48.37 million to 52.01 million. Some of that is because of the natural increase in goods, but some of it also is better collections, and some an uptick in economic activity, because that's a 7.5% increase. Now, I want to give a number which is going to interest you. because you hear discussions about it. People talk about what is the government doing with all of these roads, why they don't. I even listened to a talk show yesterday. Even some people who would normally support the ULP government, sometimes the information base is not there. They haven't researched the matter. Otherwise, they would be able to give a better explanation for things. They say all the money which government collect for vehicles on licenses. Now, let's look at the number. You just can't look into the estimates. We collected $9-point-something million last year. And this year we expect to collect just over $10 million. But by the end of September, this year, we collected $7.99 million, almost $8 million up to the end of September. Well, last year at this time we collected $7.6 million, an increase of 4.7%. Let us assume that we collect just over the $10 million for the year which we budget. We have 400 and something, almost 500 miles of motorable road in the country. That's the number which the ministry gave me some time ago. I don't have it here, but I remember it's somewhere locked in the hard drive. And if there's something wrong with my hard drive and I make a mistake, they'll come back and tell you. But I mean, I'm seeing the number in my mind's eye. To repair a mile of road, I mean, the roads I'm talking about is main road, village roads, secondary roads, feeder roads. To repair, not to build. To repair a mile of road is at least $1 million Eastern Caribbean. So that when you give me $10 million for vehicle license, it could only repair 10 miles of road, maximum. And if you have to put some bridge inside of it too, and so on and so forth. Now, if you have to do 8 miles of road, as we are doing, going down from Hospital Road to Layu Post Office, we're doing a little widening. We stopping, we doing new drains. Is nearly $26 million. That is over $3 million a mile. I just want you to put this in context. So when people talk about these things, they don't address the facts. And part of we can only develop this country if we start realistically and grasp the facts. This is why I have to go all about to look for money, so that when the Ecuadorians are doing 4 bridges for us, which is $11-point-something million, that's more they're giving in this 8-month period, more than we are collecting on motor vehicle licenses for the whole year. Now, ordinary people understand this, you know. The men and women who go to Faith Temple, they understand this, you know. Those who go to Johnny, Archbishop Jones's Mount Carmel Spiritual Baptist Church in Chester Cottage. Know it, you know. Just like those who went to the cathedral of the co-cathedral of the Assumption to hear Cardinal Martino on Thursday evening. They know it, you know. Just like the men in the taverns in Rillan Hill, Connery and Chateaubelair. They know it, you know. But it's only persons who want to do their propaganda and talk. And one of the fascinating things I have noticed, a lot of the fellas who are talking, not making reference to any facts or distorting things, or the internet crazies who just have an inveterate hatred of Ralph, and whose objective is in life is to move from being an internet crazy to Your Excellency. Because they're hoping to get, if the government change, to get work in New York or in Toronto, whether they are in a movement in Toronto or they're in a war room in New York. The internet crazies, that's what they're about, you know. They're looking, they have some kind of bile in some cases, but a lot of them, and I know they will attack me on this more, and I want them to attack me on it. They want to move from the status of an internet crazy to Your Excellency. And the man who is the stumbling block is a fella who named Comrade Ralph. So what they had to do? Tell all the lie you can about me, pull down my character, do all kind of thing, you know. And some of them, there's one who is in New York, I mean, fella, and the shorter they are, the more belligerent they are. They have Napoleon complexes. 5'6" and they loud. Or they drink plenty rum, and they do. I mean, it's a small world and it's a small place. I know them, and people know them too. I mean, but I too old, and I'm an ancient warrior to take on them kind of foolishness. But I only say that to the public, and you'll hear my tongue sharp on this as I get closer and closer to the date when the good Lord says, Ralph, ring the bell. And you hear me more and more about this. And as I tell some of them, you campaign against me in 2001, I win. You campaign against me in 2005 with virulence. You campaign against me in 2010 with the referendum win behind your back, and I beat you. Well, if in 3 successive elections you campaign against me and I win, it is clear that your opposition to me is neither here nor there, and that if a miracle happens and I lose, it would have nothing to do with the fact that you cost me in the movement or the war room or a nice radio or anywhere else. I mean, and I'm giving a logical analysis. And you notice how I'm so calm about it. And I think it's my calmness which really get them vexed. And the more they cost me, the more the good Lord gives me blessings. Well, so that is the matter of the fiscal.